Good morning, Year 3, and I hope you had a really good weekend. Welcome to Monday. It's the 8th of February, and this is your first writing lesson of this week. You've done such a great job over the last few weeks with your narrative writing and your character descriptions for the Dragon Slayer that we're going to leave that story now, and we're going to move on to a whole new mini writing project. This mini writing project is going to last you the 4 days of this week, as there will not be any lessons on Friday. So let's have a look at what we're learning about this week for our writing. And you'll be pleased to hear it's linked to your reading lesson. So if you haven't done the reading lesson yet for today, please do that first, because this lesson follows on from it. You see a little picture of a bearded dragon there? Well, we are writing to inform new bearded dragon owners all about the wild side of a bearded dragon. We're going to be writing a non-chronological report. That's basically a report which just contains facts and information. It's not going to be instructions, and we are not going to be talking about how to care for the bearded dragon. We're going to be going and looking at the wild bearded dragon and seeing what they're like in nature. So we are learning to identify the important parts of a bearded dragon's body today. We need to do this because we need to include the correct information for new bearded dragon owners. The idea being that a bearded dragon owner will learn and to be a better owner if they know a bit about the background behind the wild creature. So your success criteria today are that the main features of the animal are labelled, and that we begin to show how the body features help it to survive. You've already done some research and some reading into the bearded dragon in your reading lesson. So today I want you to do some more reading and some more research, but this time for my writing, it needs to have a particular focus. I want us to completely focus today on the body of the bearded dragon. So by the end of today, you will have labelled a bearded dragon picture with all of the physical features. Now, you've done something very much like this before with meerkats. If you remember back to December in school, we did a big focus on meerkats, and we were writing about meerkats and learning about what they're like in their natural environment, so that people at Marwell could read a sign and learn more about them. This is a very similar task. So therefore, as you've done this type of task before, I'm not going to go into a tremendous amount of detail. This is your chance to show me how much you can remember about the process of writing a non-chronological report. But don't worry, I will give you some pointers along the way. So let's start with this text in front of us, and let's look through and highlight anything on here that might help us understand more about the physical characteristics of a bearded dragon. So for this, I'm going to use a highlighter. So let's scan through and see if we can find anything in this first paragraph that tells us about how they look and how their bodies are. Bearded dragons are reptiles. Their name comes from the spiky folds of skin around their neck. Ah, there we are. So they have spiky folds of skin around their neck. We'll need to label that on our bearded dragon, which inflate and turn black when they're excited or afraid. So we've got they inflate, they turn black when they're excited or afraid. Okay, so that's why it's called a bearded dragon. It's because it gets this big sort of flap of skin that comes out here, looks a bit like a beard, a bit blacker than my beard, hopefully. Let's read on. They originally come from dry scrublands of Australia. Their captive environment needs to be similar to their natural environment. That's interesting, but it's not about the body of the animal. Let's look in this fact box here. Did you know bearded dragons are diurnal, which means they are active during the day? Interesting, but not for today. They're known as beardies. Again, that's interesting, but not part of their bodies. They originally came from the dry scrublands of Australia. These are all facts we might use later in our report, but not for today. We've got this page here about the environment. Now, I've already scanned through here, and I can see that something that you need to know are beardies can grow up to 45 centimeters long. So that's a fact about the animal itself. So we now know its length. This is talking about how warm they need to be kept in their environment. Again, that's not about their body. Now this bit here, these lizards like to dig. So if they like to dig, that could have a bearing on their claws. So we'll hold on to that fact for now because we might want to link that in. Here it says about two's company, and this sentence here, these sentences are about the fact that you shouldn't keep more than one animal in captivity. So that isn't about their body. And this one is about ultraviolet light being used to make calcium in their skin. So that might be useful, make calcium in their skin, although that's not necessarily something we're going to be able to label. But you could label the skin, and you could add a bit of information about the fact that they make calcium in their skin. That will be fine. So that's all the information I could find from this text about their bodies. So we need to look a bit further. So I found us a rather nice video. So we're going to now watch this video, not all of it, but we're going to watch a clip of this video in which a man manages to go out and capture a wild bearded dragon, and he tells us a lot about its physical features. So while we're watching the video, I'm going to make some notes. So I'm going to do some notes for you. You're welcome to use my notes in your writing later today. So I've called this Bearded Dragon Anatomy Notes, and I've already put on here some of my key features I found. Spiky folds, neck skin, black and inflate, up to 45 centimeters long, like to dig. Oh, and I could put about UV makes calcium in skin. That was quite interesting, wasn't it? Okay, now I'm just going to bring up the video, so bear with me a moment. There it is. So I can make my notes on this side, and I'm going to watch the video here. So I'll pause the video when I need to make some more notes.
All right, let's keep going that direction. Deep within the brambles, it would be nearly impossible to find, let alone pursue, any fast-moving reptile. So we made our way toward a clearing when all of a sudden, we came upon one of Australia's most common, yet iconic lizard species. Lizard, right there.
I don't see it.
It's right there on that wall.
I got it.
I think it's a bearded dragon, but it's really dark in color. Okay, come up slow. Mario, see if you can zoom in and get a shot on it.
I got him. It is a bearded.
Wow, it's a lot darker than I thought they'd be. Okay, come on, slow. Oh. It sees us. Okay, if it darts, I'm just going after it, so follow after me. Watch out for these logs here.
Get it?
Got it.
Nice.
Barely even moved. It was like perfectly camouflaged, and it just said, okay, you can't see me. I'll tell you what, I did see you. That is a bearded dragon right there. Whoa, calm down there.
Okay, so something he mentioned there was about being camouflaged. So I want to make a quick note of that and get my spelling correct. There we go, so they're camouflaged. So that's something we need to label because we can label that on the skin. Okay, let's watch some more.
Buddy, wow,
spiky.
It is super spiky. Okay, very stark lighting right here. Let's kind of duck down into the shade. I think that'll be better for your cameras. And let's get this lizard up close for the cameras. Oh man, first lizard of the trip. This is awesome. Woo! Watch your footing through here, guys. All right, here's a good shady spot up here. Let's hunker down and film this scene. There it is, guys, the eastern bearded dragon. Now let's talk about where this lizard gets its name, the bearded dragon. And let me see. All right, buddy, can you kind of flare up your beard for us? Actually staying really calm. As you'll notice, the temperature, well, you guys can't notice, but what we're noticing is that the sun is very hot, but the temperatures are still very cool in the air. And like all reptiles, this one is ectothermic, which means they're using the sun to heat up their bodies so they can head out and hunt for the day. And the bearded dragon is a diurnal species. There is the central variety and the eastern variety, and the big difference there is that the eastern variety is much darker in coloration, and the interior of the mouth is yellow as as compared to pink. All right, buddy, can we see that beard? You guys want to see that beard, right?
Oh yeah.
All right, let's see if I can kind of tickle his chin. Oh, starting to puff up his body a little bit there. Puff out that beard for us. Oh, I stand actually really calm. Look at that. I'm not even applying any pressure, holding onto the body. It's just chilling out on my hand right now. Okay, you can kind of see the beard there. Look right underneath the chin. Now, when they're really aggravated, they will puff up their bodies and puff up that beard, open up their mouth and display that yellow interior color. Now, in a sense, that's aposematic coloration. They are not venomous, but that bright color and that sort of display oftentimes will ward off any potential predators.
So you mentioned there about the inside of their mouth being yellow or pink. And so the colouring can be there to ward off any predators, or ward them off means to warn them off. So if it opens its mouth wide, it makes it look like it could be venomous, even though it isn't. So let's put on here yellow, pink, mouth, ward off, to remind us about warding off predators. Okay, that's good. He also said that they're really spiky. We did mention spiky earlier. We put spiky folds, so I'll hold on to spiky for now and see if he says anything else about their skin texture. Let's see some more.
Now, when I do touch the beard, it's a bit softer than the very rough, spiny scales on the back of this lizard. Wow, I cannot believe how calm it's being. Oh, no, now it's trying to take off. There we go. There you go. Now you got the beard puffed out. Wow, that is one impressive beard, sir. I think you could probably win a beard growing contest. And you'll notice the very triangular shape of this lizard's head. That's one feature that distinguishes it from many of the lizard species here in Australia. And oftentimes you'll see them like that, just perched on the side of a tree, facing downward with that head protruding out, absorbing the sunlight.
Man, I can't believe you got one.
I know, and on my first attempt as well. I'll tell you what's impressive about this reptile is its claws. Let me kind of just see if I can get one of its feet out here. Oh, he's actually missing a claw on one side. And they're excellent climbers. And oftentimes early in the morning like this, what they will do is climb up on the side of a tree or perch out on a log where they're absorbing sunlight. And like I said, it's an ectotherm, so they rely on the sunlight to heat up before they head out and hunt for the day. Actually, I think at this point he is just using my hand as a perch. I've got him sort of propped up in the sun there. I think he's saying to himself, this is perfect.
Is this normal behavior? I mean, that lizard is so calm.
I honestly expected it to jump off that log and take off, and I would be chasing it across the bush, but I think it was relying more on its camouflage than anything to keep it hidden. Now, this is an opportunistic predator, and they're primarily feasting on small insects and arachnids. However, they're omnivorous, which means that if they find the chance to eat some plants, some berries, something like that, they will scarf up that as a meal as well. Look at the length of this lizard's tail. Beautiful, right? Now, unlike some lizard species, they're not able to detach that tail to help them escape from predators. And actually, if I can actually balance the lizard by the end of its tail and keep it on my hand like that. And that tail is incredibly spiky. Go ahead, Mark, reach out there and feel how rough those scales are. And if you run your hand in the opposite direction, that's where you really get ripped up. I'm getting little lacerations all over my hands just from handling it.
I don't even think there's sandpaper that's that gritty.
Right?
Wow.
Let's look at the underside of the lizard. Now, the belly is much softer than its back, almost like the belly of a horned lizard. Go ahead and zoom in there. You see those large ear sockets? They have excellent hearing and wonderful eyesight during the day. This is without question one of the most iconic species here in Australia. And I know for you guys out there watching Coyote Pack that you have been requesting a bearded dragon episode for quite some time. And I think it's really fitting that our first lizard of this Australian trip just so happens to be that reptile. Well, this was pretty cool, getting the bearded dragon up close.
Okay, so that's all we need from that video. So you can see I've made some notes. Let me summarize from the notes we've got so far. So these are some of the physical features that you need to add to your labeling. Spiky folds, neck, skin, black, inflate, up to 45 centimeters long. They like to dig, but then next to it I've put on here about the long claws to climb. So the claws can be for digging and climbing. The UV helps make calcium in the skin. That's what we found out. They're camouflaged. They have large ear sockets. The yellow or pink mouth can ward off any predators. Has a triangular shaped head, a long tail, rough scales, but a softer belly. Now you might want to bring this part of my video back up and pause it later on when you're actually doing your written work. You can use these to help you if you need to. And this is what your sheet looks like. Can I research and label the features of a bearded dragon? Use the text from the reading lesson and the video to label information about the body of the bearded dragon. The word bank below might help with spelling. So I've given you two different pictures of two bearded dragons. You've got the sort of darker coloured one with his beard out and his yellow mouth, and then the sandier coloured one above. And you can add labels to both of those. You've got long tail, camouflage mouth, triangular, inflate, eyesight, which was something which was mentioned in the video. I haven't made a note on that, but you might have remembered it. Spines, scales, ear sockets, predators, claws, digging, climbing. So I expect you to use a ruler to draw your lines. So I can see here a little ear socket there, a little tiny, that little pit there. So we'll draw a line there and then I'll label it large ear socket. There we go. And you can put all your labels around. If you'd like an extension, then you can add details of some of the labels, to some of the labels, explaining how the body features help it to survive. For example, large claws, you could label, sharp claws. You could label sharp claws, but then you could add on allows it to climb and dig. Large ear socket would be a basic label. Large ear socket gives it good hearing would be an extension. To simplify this, I've given you some of the labels and you can cut them out and stick them on. So here we've got sharp claws for digging and climbing. So you can cut that out, bring it in here, use your ruler to draw a line from the claws to the label. So that will be your simplified version. Feel free to go back to this video and watch the extract again where the man is catching him, and also have a look at my notes too, if that helps you. So have fun today labeling your bearded dragon, and all the way through this week we're going to be building up our research and our notes, so by the end of the week you will have written a non-chronological report all about the wild side of the bearded dragon, and with that of course is going to be a labelled picture, the one that you do today. So have fun with that, and I can't wait to see the work that you produce for us. Have a good day.